Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the 2025 NFL Draft has now concluded, and the highlight story was about a fifth-round pick that went to the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go over as to why that was. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you do, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Man, this NFL Draft was so weird because of the fact that you saw the number 1 pick, the number 2 pick, the number 3 pick, and nobody's talking about them or how they're going to do in the NFL. Cam Ward, the number 1 pick that did go to Tennessee. He had some talks about his toughness and his mental toughness and how he approaches the game and how much he's football oriented, and that's pretty much all he thinks about. But the highlight right here, as you see, the Colorado Buffaloes, they announced that the 144th pick, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. Their very own. Obviously, this is Deion Sanders' son. And he fell really far. I think a lot of people saw that he had the talent to become a quarterback in the NFL. He has a talent. He has the ceiling to do so, but he was not ready, or for whatever reason, he fell to the 5th round. My belief is that he was just arrogant, man. You know, you can't be arrogant when you're a 5th round pick or you're talented, but you haven't done anything yet. You didn't do. I mean, they did pretty well in Colorado with his dad as his coach, but he had the number 2 pick, Travis Hunter. I don't think he's a Heisman winner, but I do believe that that's a part of the reason why a lot of teams skipped on him. I thought for sure he'd end up with the Raiders. He kind of fits the bill of a kind of a gritty, young quarterback that can do some things. But I heard that Tom Brady was like, you know what, pass up on this guy. I don't want him. Which is interesting because I thought the Raiders right now they have Geno Smith. They just traded for him. They don't really have solidified a quarterback for a very long time because you don't know what type of Geno Smith you're going to get, right? You could get Seahawk Geno Smith or you could get Jet Geno Smith. So, interesting story, but I think the general consensus is that Shedeur Sanders went into team meetings and was really arrogant and talking about how, hey, I'm the guy. I'm going to be the guy. If you don't trade me, you're stupid. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm him. I will continue to be him. So that was the biggest part. The second biggest, right under that, was that he got sacked the most. I think he got sacked 93 times in the last college season. So that was a big one. Obviously, you don't want to give up position of the field. And 93 times getting sacked with your legs, your ability to run and make plays. Not too enticing for a team to go grab that, right? So another thing, the third thing that I saw was that he didn't have a strong arm. A lot of players nowadays in the NFL, they have strong arms. You see Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, those guys, those elite level guys, they have a big arm. The big play has to be there. That's why teams have like your number 1, your number 1A, your number 1B. Then you have your speedster. The speedster always has to become a part of the play because you have to be able to surprise a team on a 3rd down, kind of like the Eagles did against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl where they hit that long ball to Devontae Smith. So a lot of teams don't believe he has that arm to be able to complete plays like that. So that's a part of the reason why he fell so far. Another reason was that I'm going to show you some interviews here. They look really, really bad. I mean, I think this is how the interviews went. So
So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are. If you ain't trying to...
So you can see a lot of arrogance talking about, hey, if you don't change the franchise or the coaches, if you're not willing to have me be like the LeBron of the team, don't even draft me, bro. Which is ironic because he went to the Browns where the culture's not going to change, the franchise is not going to change. They've been doing the same stuff for I don't know how long. And they don't value a star quarterback like they did. Kind of like, when Baker went there, they tried to like put all the pressure onto Baker. Then they had Deshaun Watson and that whole debacle. So it's ironic that he went to the Browns where I don't want to say that it's impossible to come out of that franchise successful, but it is definitely one of the hardest jobs in the world to be a quarterback for the Browns right now. Then they signed, the Browns also signed Jameis Winston, and they have Joe Flacco. So he has a lot of veterans around him, but does that mean that he's going to be able to get playing time around those guys? Maybe the Browns think that, hey, those older guys are injury prone. They might get hit a lot, so you will see a Shedeur Sanders appearance with the Browns this year. But a lot of the consensus was that he's going to be a backup, and he's going to be a better backup than a lot of teams have. So it'll be fun to watch him play his first game. And then we have another clip here where he's working out with Cam Ward. And you can tell the type of guy that Shedeur Sanders is and the type of guy that Cam Ward is and why the discrepancy of picks and where they landed.
Come on, bro, let's make a song. Let's drop for him, real shit. I play football. Here we go.
Football.
Play football. You ain't got no hobbies outside of that? I play football. That's your only hobby? I want people to know me as football player. Let's search up Cam Ward. Let me say American football.
So yeah, you could tell like, hey, Cam Ward's like, I'm about my business, bro. I'm here to dominate. I'm here to do my business and get the hell out of here. So, and you could tell Shedeur's like, hey man, I have so much clout and I have so much popularity, and my name's gonna be all over the headlines, and they're gonna be talking about me and my dad and all this other stuff. And to be fair, he's not wrong. That's the whole point of the draft, was talking about him and where he landed and why he fell out of the top spots in the first and second round. So, you know, it's a show of character. It doesn't look good for him. I don't think teams look at that and they're like, oh my God, this is fantastic to see, man. I want that guy on my team. Because obviously he's obviously practicing for the draft here, getting some reps in with the fellow quarterback, a top-notch quarterback, and his head's talking about making songs and doing all this other stuff outside of the field. So that's an interesting clip. I have another one here. Kind of the same kind of thing.
They gave you a completion percentage award, and all you did was throw check downs and bubble screens. If I did that, my completion percentage would be 90. I throw the ball downfield, you don't. You ran the ball. You had a run game. You had a run game. You had a run game. And you did it? No. You just told that thing for think about total rushing yards. It don't matter. That ain't my fault. I hope you're not getting no water. We just had the first drill. Oh, that's how you feel? You get water. We ain't even done with the first drill. Let's go. That's how it is in Colorado, though. Inside the numbers, top. That's what it's like for a 9-win man. I didn't have water. I drink Gatorade. Shit, I get paid for. That's cool. I don't need to get paid. Bro,
so there you have it. Another clip, like I said, you know, Shedeur is just coming off at this arrogant, I don't want to say daddy's boy, but, you know, like, he's been coddled his whole career. Or I don't know how Deion parents his kids, but he had arrogance. A lot of people will call it, Deion would call it swagger. Shedeur would call it swagger, but that's not swagger, man. You're just arrogant. I love the humbleness out of camp. He's like, yo, we just had our first rep, bro, and you're already getting Gatorade or water. And then he, you know, Shedeur calls him a bitch ass, whatever. And Cam's like, oh, that's how you feel? That's how we running it right now? So it made me love Cam Ward even more. It made me not like Shedeur Sanders the same amount. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I just don't love the way he's approaching the game like he's done something. Your daddy's accolades are your daddy's accolades. Your accolades have to be your own accolades. You have your own story. You want to write your own story, right? And it's kind of one of those things where you see a lot of players have so much pressure on them. Like an example is like Julio Cesar Chavez, the boxer, versus his son Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., where Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. had a lot of pressure on him to be like his dad. His dad put a lot of pressure on him to be that. And when he didn't live up to those expectations, you saw Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. kind of become this alcoholic, drug addict. He missed weight a lot of times, and that's kind of the same approach that Shedeur currently has, kind of, where he's like, man, you know who my dad is? My dad's one of the greatest. He was arrogant. He was this. He was that. I'm going to be that. He's kind of modeling off a role model, but that isn't how it's not how the NFL is. The NFL does not work on past success. They work on current success. You saw like, what's the cornerback's name? I don't even remember his name, but they have a son, and then they have a junior, and they play in the NFL, and they're good, but they're not great. They're not headline guys. But, you know, that's how I feel about Shedeur. I thought that the 5th round pick was, I'm not going to say deserved. I thought he was a 3rd round talent. I thought he was higher than the 5th. He would go higher than the 5th round. I wouldn't have loved to see him go to the Rams, my team. But the Raiders, you know, a team like that doesn't have a solidified number one quarterback for the future. I thought he fits the bills for the Raiders. I thought the Browns, they didn't need a quarterback, but I don't hate the pick for them. I think he's going to get his opportunities over there, see what he does with them, and maybe he moves on. Maybe he stays there. He turns that franchise around. We never know, but that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.